back and enjoy the ride. What's up, daydreamers? It's Matty Carropel, and this is another episode of Daydreaming. And we got an incredible guy here. He's amazing. He's on Stranger Things. He plays Mr. Clarke. He's been in Godzilla. He was in this film called Instant Family. He was on the show called Halt and Catch a Fire. He's incredible. He has a ton of credits. He's a good man. Here he is in the flesh, Mr. Randy Havens.
Well, hello.
Hello. Did I said your last name right?
That's correct. Yeah, you nailed
my
it.
gosh, I nailed it. Cool. I didn't even ask you. I didn't even have to ask you. Usually ask.
Just came right out the gate with the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
Do people get it wrong at all? Because it's pretty straightforward.
It's
Havens.
relatively straightforward. I think some
Yeah.
people call me Randy Haven. And I'm like, well, it's plural. There's multiple.
Oh, right.
Multiple havens.
Right. Excuse me, there's an S.
I have a plethora of havens at my disposal. So
my name gets butchered a lot because it's a lot of syllables. Carderopel.
yeah.
I say it wrong sometimes.
Just to mess with people.
No.
No, just because you're like, oh, I can't even remember.
I think it probably took me 18 years to learn my last name. But yeah, it's a complicated one.
Your parents would just like look at you like,
yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, my dad would always tell me, it's Car Dar Opal, and then say it fast. Carderopel. So there you go. That's how you say it. But cool. I'm really glad I got your name right because I was nervous. Well, not that nervous actually. I wasn't nervous at all. All right. So hey, what's up, Randy? First of all, how you been doing with the COVID times? You've been doing all right. I noticed you're not wearing a mask. I hope you're not around anyone right now.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know we needed one for the Zoom chat. I've got one right here just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case we get closer than 6 feet. Yeah. Well, 2020 was rough, man.
Closer. I'm getting closer to the screen.
Nope. I'm gonna put my mask on.
Oh god, yeah, I do that sometimes. Like when I go out to get the mail, I'll just like go like that out to the mail.
just in case you pass someone on the way. But yeah, no,
like,
2020.
Who farted outside? Yeah, sorry, go
farts,
ahead.
It's the coronaviruses.
Yeah, you're saying, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, it's fine. 2020 was, kind of rough.
Yeah.
For a while. And I didn't realize how much of my identity and happiness was sort of wrapped up in what I do for a living.
Right.
And that was a big thing to sort of have to come to terms with, as far as like, okay, I can't do what I love. I can't, like, honestly, I couldn't do any of the things that I did to sort of like, keep myself active and happy.
Yeah.
One of the things I love to do, take acting classes at under different teachers and go in and like sharpen my skills doing different methods.
Yeah.
Learning different acting methods. And so,
like, what's a method?
So there are a few. The ones that I am most interested in, there's Strasberg and Meisner.
Oh, cool.
And they have similarities, but they have like some pretty big differences as well. So,
all right, let's do a Meisner exercise, right?
You want to do a Meisner exercise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that one where you're like
a repetition.
Yeah.
I'm feeling excited.
You're feeling excited.
I'm feeling excited.
You're feeling excited.
I'm feeling excited.
You're feeling. Am I doing it right?
You are
I'm
doing it
supposed.
right,
I'm
but then
supposed to
like,
repeat back like
yeah, so
what
it's
you.
so we do repetition until you feel something. So I started it. So then you would we would go back and forth until you feel changed in some way.
All right. Let's try another one.
Okay, great. Um I feel happy.
I feel happy.
I
You
feel
feel
happy.
happy.
Yeah, I feel happy.
Yeah. Yeah. You. Sorry. Go ahead.
I feel happy.
You feel happy.
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 I feel happy.
Cool. That
It's
was
very
cool.
Easter, very Easter bunny.
Yeah.
So eventually we would go back and forth until you're like, I don't now I feel this, I feel weird or whatever. And then we
Oh,
would change.
oh, oh, cool, cool. Yeah,
So
my
it would be,
friend Paul does that Meissner stuff. And
it's
I think
cool.
I took like one class. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
It's cool. It's very interesting and very stressful as well. Like it can be like super stressful. I had a teacher that was like, you the best classes are the ones that you walk away from with your hand shaking. And I was like, do not like.
Right.
Oh, the
Right.
best class for me to walk out of and be like, I feel good. And that was oftentimes not the case. You walk out of there and just go like, oh God, I feel like my world's been like shaken to the core.
What are some other actors like alums that have done Meissner? I think like Jeff Goldblum, right? He was big into it.
Um, yeah, Goldblum Dumeiser.
I think so.
Uh, yeah, I can't think off the top of my head.
That's okay.
I know the biggest Strasberg was like the heavy hitters were all like Strasberg. Um, but a significant number of people obviously did Meisner as well. I should Google it. I should Google it right now. We just go through the list. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You know what? It's a podcast. People should learn something. Meisner.
Yeah.
Eisner. It's not Disney. Meisner alums.
Um
Let's see here. Nope. Nope. Okay. Meisner.
let's see who can get to it first.
I got it right here. Here we
Oh,
go.
nice.
Here we go. Oh, this is a big list.
Just yeah,
James
Disney's great.
Gandolfini,
Okay.
Jack Nicholson,
Nice. Okay.
Anthony Hopkins,
Nice.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, really?
That's right. Jeff Goldblum.
Whoa. The
Allison
Jeffs.
Janney. We all love Allison Janney.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Excellent.
Very cool.
So is that your self-tape setup in the background there?
Yes, this is my backdrop. This is my lovely paper backdrop.
Nice. So how's it been for you doing those self-tapes?
Here's some
First of all,
scripts that I can't show you because I signed NDAs.
oh yeah. Nope, don't do it.
Ooh, very. Oh my goodness.
So when I say like self-tapes to the average, Joe or Cindy,
Or Jane, Joe or
Jane.
or
Oh yeah,
Cindy,
thank
or
you.
Veronica for that matter.
Yeah. To the average Veronica, what is a self-tape?
A self tape
what's
is literally where you tape an audition. You can use a taping service, or you can tape it at your house. And normally you would do a self tape like just as sort of a precursor to an in-person audition. Now in COVID times, they're all self tapes. There are no more in-person auditions right now.
yeah. There probably won't be till like 2050.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I think even when everybody's vaccinated, they're still gonna be like, we actually kind of like it better this way. Just send us
I
your tapes.
I love it because you can do as many takes as you want. You can like take a break and go eat a sandwich or something. Or yeah, I love it. It's the
I can
best.
only imagine
How
the
do you feel
casting
about it?
directors like it too, because it's just like, well, you don't have to like, all you have to do is watch them. You don't have to like schedule times. You don't have to like have people come in. You can just like watch everybody's tapes. And then if you like what they have, and you can like do a
Right.
Zoom call with them to, do like a, virtual in person.
Right. Yeah. So
Um,
how's that? But how's it? How's self tapes? How do you like it so far? I mean, you just explained that you liked it, but what's the process for you of making a self tape? Like, kind of break
well, I
it
have
down.
a, if I'm not using like a service, if I'm doing it at home,
Yeah.
which is obviously the best way to do it right now.
Do you use your phone or do you use a camera
I
or
have a camera. Um,
what kind of
uh,
camera you got?
I got a Nikon.
Oh, Nikon.
I
Okay.
got a Nikon D5600, and then I got some studio lights too. I probably should have put the studio lights on.
Do you have
Um,
a reader with you, or do you have a reader over Zoom?
I do. I just FaceTime with a an actor friend of mine.
Yeah, I do the
Uh,
same thing. It's
and so I
great.
just sort of set up the iPad like near eye line at the camera and just turn the volume on him down a little bit, just so I can kind of barely hear him because he's so close to the camera.
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Um,
That's cool.
so he doesn't like overwhelm the audio.
Nice.
But yeah,
That's great.
it's great.
And do you
It's
edit them on your computer
Yep,
or
yep.
okay, cool. All right. Sweet. That's good to know. I like knowing about that stuff, and I think other actors that are getting into the biz want to hear that stuff. Ooh, nice. That looks like horchata. Is that horchata?
This is a one of my COVID projects is making my own cold brew coffee at home,
Whoa.
and I found this delightful oat milk.
And look, I
Do you
have
mind if
jars too.
I do some some
Yeah.
sponsored content? We
Randy
hey,
Havens
we love
coffee.
jars. In this house, we stand jars. Um, I use this Chobani extra creamy oat milk, and it is like delightful. It's like half and half, but oat milk. It's great. So yeah,
Whoa.
that's the white at the bottom. Is It's been sitting here a while. I'm going to shoot it up. I'm gonna do some
That's
cold
awesome.
brew ASMR. This is having
Dude,
delightful
people love those ASMR videos.
cold
Like
brew.
I'm gonna do
Mm.
I have you done one? I did one and it has like my most views on YouTube. It's got like
No, I've never
30,000
done one.
views.
I'm doing
Yeah,
one
you
right
should do
now.
one. You should do one.
Oh.
I'll do a pen closing. Anyway, okay. Where were we? We
You
were
know, I
talking
have a
about your
wet
cold
spot.
brew.
I have a
Oh yeah,
cold
yeah, but
brew wet spot on my shirt.
very cool. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about
About
your
Samana Float Center.
no, but I
Oh,
can't. I can't. Um, yes, I was gonna ask you about how you got Stranger Things and since we're talking about auditions, it's kind of linear with what we're talking about. So, uh, how
good
did how did you
segue.
get the audition for Stranger Things? To go through the whole process. When you got the audition, when you got the pin, which means oh you're available, and just go ahead. Here we go.
Cool. Yeah. So this is you have walked yourself into quite the tale, sir.
Oh, cool.
Um
And try
so
and try and tell it differently than the way you've told it before.
okay,
If you can do that.
I'll do it with the British accent. It was a cold fall day. Um so I auditioned for a bunch of parts. like I sent in a bunch of tapes
For
um,
Stranger Things.
for Stranger Things
Whoa,
when it came
nice.
out. With at the time, it was called the Untitled Duffer Brothers Project.
Okay.
Um, uh, and so I sent in a bunch of different tapes. Mr. Clarke was definitely one of them, but the one I got the callback for was for assistant principal,
Okay. Okay.
um, who was recurring in season one, but it wasn't like as substantial a part as Mr. Clarke. Uh,
Yeah.
so I come in for the audition. Um,
In person with
I
the
do it in
Duffers.
person. So like after, so I had self taped for like all these other parts, and then I got called in for assistant principal.
Hmm.
So as I'm walking in the door to the room where everybody is, I walk in the room and there's Carmen Cuba, who is like one of the best casting directors uh, in the country. Like if you look at her like um, filmography, like the movies and
Yeah,
TV shows that she's
she's
cast, like they
yeah,
just
she's great.
all are have like amazing uh actors, and she just has a knack for getting the right people together. She's got something there. She can like tell when two people are going to have chemistry together, or she
Yeah.
can tell when like an ensemble is going to have like the right like flavors together. She's like um I don't know, I think a little bit psychic in that way. um and also skilled and
Yeah.
talented.
Was this in LA or Atlanta?
This is in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I walk in the room and there's Carmen, and I think she's sitting in between the Duffer brothers. And then there are also the Atlanta casting directors in there as well. But as I walk into the door, Carmen takes one look at me and then turns to the Duffers and she's like, "What do we think of him for Henry if we decide to go a different way with that character?" So as I'm walking in the door, I'm like, first things first, they don't like me for this part immediately.
Yeah. Right, right, right.
Like right off the
Yeah.
bat, they're like, "Nope." But what about this other part? But then there was also the caveat of, "Oh, if we decide to go a different way with that." So it was just like, oh, okay, so there's not. So y'all don't really want me for any one of these parts. So I was like, cool, I'll just do whatever I want. I'm not trying to like, you're not going to be impressed by me. So
Yeah.
I I might as well just show you my take on the character, and do it the way that I would want to do it anyway.
So you
And
went
if you,
in for the assistant principal role
yeah,
in the room, and then
yeah.
they said, "Oh, we want you for Henry or Mr. Clark?"
So yeah, no mention of Mr. Clarke yet.
Oh, okay.
They were like, "What do we think?" She literally goes, "What do we think of him for Henry if we decide to go a different way with that part?" And it
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, so you don't like me for this one, and you're already thinking of another part, but then you're also going like, but like we would have to change our minds on that other part."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Wow, okay." Okay, so I'll just do this. So I do the scene. I do something in the scene, like something
And you had
funny
to
in
cold
the
read it basically, right? Did you have
well,
to?
no, this one, like I was reading for the assistant principal still, so
Okay.
like even though they didn't want me for this part, I was like, I'll go ahead and read it since I'm
Yeah.
here. And then
Right, right.
I
Okay.
did something, and it made the Duffers laugh, and so they were like, "Yeah, go outside. Here, take take these other sides. Sides are just like scenes.
Yeah.
Um, they were like, take these other sides out there and just look them over for a little while, and then come back in and read for this other character, this character Henry." So Henry's deal was he was Jonathan's boss at the movie theater where Jonathan worked. So Jonathan in the original scripts, Jonathan worked at the movie theater in
Right.
town.
Okay.
Um, and this guy, I think his name was Henry. So Henry's deal was that he got Jonathan into photography.
Okay.
And so anytime Jonathan had like a photography question, he would come to Henry. And then when Jonathan's camera gets broken, he goes to Henry to get him to like fix it.
Okay, cool.
And the character as written was actually pretty similar to Mr. Clarke in that he was like super friendly and like goes out of his way to like help and stuff like that. Um, and uh, so I go back in. I have the script with me because there's no way that I'm gonna like actually like memorize it. So I was just like, so I basically just went outside, read the scenes, and I was like, where is this guy coming from? What's his deal? And as soon as I got like sort of an emotional um picture of like who this guy was, like
I
the
heard of it.
feeling that this guy would have in
Yeah.
these situations, because that's the only thing I can do at that point. Like, it's just like, okay, well, I'm just reading off this paper, so I need to have some idea of emotionally what this guy's deal is. So
Yeah.
as soon as I got it, like a grasp on that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back in. So I go back in, I read the scenes for this guy,
Yeah.
and then a few days later, they're like, hey, we want you for this part. Um, and I was like,
For
perfect.
Henry.
And it for Henry, yeah. And I was like,
Right,
and it
right.
was recurring and everything else. And so I was like, awesome. Um, I then it was like they had asked me also, they were like, hey, we'd also like you to come in for the table read. And if you could like read some other parts. And I was like, yeah, sure, awesome, perfect. Would love
Oh,
to.
that's great.
Um, and 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 then like in between that and the date of the table read, I swear it was like 5 days before the table read, they were like, maybe my agent like emails me and says, hey, they actually cut the part of Henry.
What?
And I
Oh
was
man.
like, what? And they were like, yeah, they cut the character completely from the scripts.
Oh my gosh.
So I think, like it was just like, oh, we've got too many characters. We need to like trim the story down or whatever. Actually, like you could lower the budget if you like cut, you know, interiors.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't have to be like, so you wouldn't have to set dress an entire like movie theater and make it period.
Right, right,
'Cause
right.
that like
Yeah.
adds so much because like everything's in the 80s. So you can't like everything has to be
Legit.
period
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
And then plus I think the character was too similar to Mr. Clarke as well. I think they like looked at it and they were like, actually, this like serves the energy of the series better if we don't have characters that are too similar to each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they cut it. I never asked, but they did, and I was sad. Um, and and then shortly before the table read, like casting was still like, hey, we still want you to come in for the table read. And I'm like, yeah, I guess if I come in for the table read, maybe I can like worm my way into another part.
Yeah.
Um, but then like right before the table read, they were like, hey, could you send in a tape of you reading for Mr. Clarke? And I was like, I already did.
Right, right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so to my agents, I'm like, I already did. And they were like, oh, could you send it to us again? I'm like, yeah, I guess my agents are just like, all
Yeah.
right, yep, but I didn't book it. Throw this audition away. So I resend my original Mr. Clarke audition in. And they were like, okay, yeah, they definitely want you to read that at the table, that character at the table read, and then a series of other smaller parts. So I go into the table read, and um, it's all the kids, and the kids were like babies back then. They were so tiny, just like teensy tiny. Makes me feel so like so much time has passed since like that day.
Right.
Because they're like almost all of them are like adults now.
Yeah.
Um, which is wild. So I go into the table read, and then like one of the duffers is like, hey man, we're so excited to have you uh play this part. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm really excited to read it. because I was like, I don't,
Because you hadn't booked it yet, right?
nobody, I haven't booked any part. Like nobody,
Yeah.
there's been no announcement, so I'm just like here reading this part as at this table read,
Yeah.
and we read like 3 episodes. We read like 3 full episodes there at the table read. So a table read is just what it sounds like. Everyone's sitting around, a bunch of tables, like sort of facing each other, and just reading through the scripts. And there's usually one person at the table who's reading the uh scene descriptions and like action, the descriptions of like the action, sort of like a narrator, right? So there's a person sort of narrating the non-dialogue parts of the script, and then for the dialogue you have the actors read that.
Yeah.
So it's basically, everyone's just sitting around reading a script together, but playing their own parts.
Yeah.
So we do 3 episodes the first day, and then we come back the next day and read the next 3. And I was like really like vibing with the Mr. Clarke character. I was like, this is like a really fun part, and like it was so great to be able to read through multiple episodes to sort of get like a feel
A
for who
vibe
this
for
guy
him.
was.
Yeah.
And it was so great to like do that in front of the Duffers and Carmen, because it was like, you can sort of see who or what my take on this character was. So the next day I come in, and Carmen comes in, and it was my birthday actually. Carmen comes and sits beside me, and she was like, hey, this Mr. Clarke part is yours. And I was like,
Wow.
oh wow, this is like super stoked. And the Duffers walk in, and Carmen goes, hey, I just told Randy the part's his. And I think it was Matt Duffer goes like, yeah, I told him yesterday. And I was like, well, I'm dumb, so I'm a stupid person. Like,
I told him
don't
yesterday.
don't hold that against me. Also, I know I'm playing a smart person in the show, but I am dumb. So sorry.
Right. So the first time they told you, you were just kind of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't believe you.
Well, I didn't.
Was
I
it
didn't
kind of
quite.
like,
Yeah, I didn't
well,
quite
yeah, I
understand.
don't know.
Yeah, I really didn't. I really didn't catch the
Was this a
context
prank?
clue of,
Like,
hey, we've cast you in this show.
am I on a prank camera show here?
Yeah, exactly,
Um,
exactly. Um,
wow, that's such a great
so
story.
yeah, that was it. And then I got Mr. Clarke. So that's the whole thing about this businessman is like, when one door opens,
Another one
wait,
closes.
yeah, that's right. When one door opens, another one closes. So if you book one party, you won't book another.
Yeah,
So yeah. So yeah, don't be too sad when things don't work out, because
yeah, it's true.
when something doesn't work out, it just means that's setting the stage for the
Yeah,
next thing to
I've
work
learned.
out.
Yeah, the universe kind of figures it all out. Just trust the universe.
Yeah,
The universe will put you where you need to be.
yeah. I have a friend that just like um messaged me and was like, hey, I just got penned for this, like the biggest part of my career, and I'm freaking out, help. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that, because I know exactly what that's like. And
Yeah,
just chill, like don't think about. So I guess explain what pinning is. Pinning is
sewing,
when,
right? It's when you
what's that?
sew stuff.
It's, yeah, you have to pin. It's a part of the tailoring process. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't know actors have to tailor their own
their own stuff. Yeah,
costumes. Yeah.
takes a long time.
No, obviously we're joking
We're
around.
joking.
We're
Come on
telling
now.
lies in order to make you laugh. They're
Yeah,
called laugh lies. Um, so pinning is when casting is like, wow, we really can't decide between this actor and this actor. And,
yeah.
and we don't want to decide right now. Actually, what we want to do is we want to wait to figure out which one of these people we want.
Well, also it's like
So Yeah, go ahead.
they could know, and it's like a scheduling thing. You know what I mean?
Right. So they go like,
Yeah.
we can't decide, but also we want, so because we can't decide, can we just have both of these people like be available for the next 3 months to play this part?
Yeah.
And so they'll go like, what's your availability for the next 3 months? And it's like, well, I'll clear my schedule if that's
Yeah.
what you want. Like, I won't
Yeah.
go anywhere. And they're like, yeah, that's what we prefer. We prefer you not to not go anywhere and to not work on anything else. And then you wait around, and sometimes you get the call and sometimes you don't. And so yeah, I was just telling this actor, I was like, you can't, like, here's the thing you can't do. You can't sit around and go, okay, if I get it, this will happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that happens, this will happen. And then like, oh, then like things will really work out for me. So basically, like, what you're doing is you're just like, you're fantasizing about a thing that hasn't happened. And that can be so detrimental to your mental health.
Yeah. What
Because if you don't get it, then you're like, then this whole like house of cards of fantasy that you've created has now crumbled. um
what I do is I just like continue making content or do other audition. Like I just kind of I see it as like, oh, I that's done. I have that done. Now what else can I do to stay productive? Like make a podcast or, make a sketch or write something or, just stay active because you're putting good energy out into the universe. And then, yeah, that's what I do.
exactly.
And it helps.
Exactly, yeah. I think my whole thing is like, don't, could be, you can definitely like sort of manifest positivity in that moment and go like, I welcome this experience into my life. But without, all the other accoutrement of going like, of sort of like creating this fantasy future of like, ooh, this is what my life will be like if I get this. Like that's where you start to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But I think like the,
That's great advice.
the the thing about our career is that it's like constantly asking you to let go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you go
Yeah.
like, I mean, even when you audition for something, even when you go like, that was a cool audition, it's like, okay, well, that was a cool audition. Bye.
Yeah.
um Literally never gonna think of that again,
Yeah.
until like, unless I get another call, and then I'll pick up the scripts again and then look at it. And so you have to be the same way, even when people are like, hey, we think we want to hire you for this. It's like, okay, cool, well, let me know when you actually do hire me for this. um uh and just like sort of letting it go and moving on to the next thing, like you said, like, just continuing to do your own work.
Yep.
um
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's
you're going to
true.
be a crazy person.
Yeah. That's great. So, we have some internet questions actually, because I don't know if you saw, but
Oh, boy.
I post. Is that okay? We have
Yeah,
some.
of course. I was
Oh,
just joking.
okay. Um, wow, we have 181 questions. I don't think we can do them all. Sorry,
No,
internet.
we don't get through 181
Um,
questions.
all right.
I think
What's your favorite
they
scene
should
that
go
you
through
did?
the Carteropal filter process.
Yeah. What's your
Um,
favorite scene from Stranger Things? The
Favorite
show,
scene. Okay, well, I
the
have
shoot.
two, because there was
Okay.
like, I think there was one that was like for the longest time my favorite scene, and then it got usurped at the last minute. Um, so I think of the paper plate scene
Yes.
in season one, where I sort of demonstrate uh, the sort of dimension jumping aspects, with the acrobat and the flea type thing. And also like the episode was called The Acrobat and the Flea, and that's like the monologue that I give.
Oh
And
yeah.
the Duffers were like elbowing me, and they're like, hey, we called the episode The Acrobat and the Flea. Isn't that cool? I'm like, yes, it's super cool. Please stop. You're like stressing me out by putting too
That's
much pressure
awesome.
on me. Um So that was my favorite scene for the longest time, and then the scene I did in season 3 with Winona ended up becoming my favorite because
Oh, nice.
that was just such a fun time. It was just such a fun day to spend, you know, just like a whole day working with Winona Ryder and going like, is this real life? Like
Yeah.
I felt like that kid who had dental surgery in the back of the car. Is this real life?
That's awesome.
Definitely never
Oh,
thought that
are
would be a
you
thing.
are you really interested in science? That's a good question.
I'm definitely interested in certain aspects, but again, I will go back to the fact that I am dumb and I am not a
Yeah.
smart person. So I cannot understand um, a lot of it. But yeah, there's definitely like cool science stuff. I just go like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Like the
need a
earth is
physics
flat.
professor to explain that to me.
Okay, this is a very specific question someone has. And I like it. Does he think Mr. Clarke would have stolen Dustin's scientific discovery of DART,
No,
or would he have wanted to?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he would have been interested. I'm sure he probably would have been like, let's take this to like some biologist. But no, I
Yeah.
don't think. I know Dustin was concerned about having Dart stolen, but Mr. Clark would never do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he
Mr. Clark
wouldn't
is a
he
bro.
wouldn't, yeah. He's a trustworthy guy.
He really
Um
is.
so okay, tell us about Godzilla and how that came about. 'Cause you were in
Godzilla was
Godzilla,
yeah,
the
got
king of
the
monsters.
king of the monsters.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool. I read for that one, and uh, they had me read a scene from Independence Day.
Whoa. Which
Yeah.
Independence Day scene?
Uh, I think it's I'm pretty sure it's the Brent Spiner character.
Okay.
As he's like they're like at Area 51 or something, and he's like, "This is the spaceship," and he's like,
Oh, oh
look at this
wow.
cool, blah
Okay.
blah blah," and he's just like going through all this cool stuff. Um, and so yeah, I just played that a couple of different ways. I was like, well, here's like a more refined approach, and then here's like a like kind of uh, a guy who's like super into it approach. Um, and yeah, it was like literally like tape that with a casting director. Didn't meet the director of the film at all, and then like a
Wow.
couple of days later, they were like, "Yep, it's yours. That's your part."
Wow. That's great,
Um,
man.
and
That's
then like
awesome. So you didn't even have the actual scenes yet,
no,
right?
no,
Wow.
yeah, the first thing I got was like the full script after I'd been hired.
And
Uh,
they do it in a way where sometimes they'll send you like a code or like a secret. Nothing
nope,
like that. No.
nope, nope. They just sent me the full script. Thank gosh. The the ones where they're like, you'll get some, you work on some productions where like the script is like locked inside an app.
Yeah, that's the Jurassic World.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
And I'm
It was
like,
like a
I'm like, no, I like to have a, like, I like to print out my scenes. I don't print out a whole script. I'm not trying to
yeah.
kill a bunch of trees or anything, but like I do like to print out my own scenes and like make notes on them.
Yes.
Um, and it's so like I like to have like something in my hand, like something palpable, and like the apps are just like terrible and they like don't work half the time, and like you can't print them. You literally have to like read your stuff off a screen, and it's like super annoying. Um, but yeah, and I'm sure you've had this experience on Jurassic World as well, where you like walk onto set and you're like, oh
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
this you guys spent
This is like
a
a movie.
significant amount of money building this set.
Yes.
Um,
Better not mess up my lines.
uh, right, right. Well, the funny thing was, like, uh, I just get like so into what I'm doing, like when I start shooting, that I'm just like, I don't, there's, I'm not really worried. because I'm
Yeah.
like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a while, so I know what I'm doing. So I'm not like, I'm never scared of like messing things up. Um, and I have convinced myself at this point that I bring something to every project that I'm on. So I have a healthy self image.
Nice.
Um, and so, yeah, like it was the only, like I really didn't feel any different working on that huge movie than I did like working on like season one of Stranger Things, which like had like a relatively low budget as far as TV shows
Yeah.
go. Um, and honestly, like Stranger Things felt like I was like making a show with my friends. Like
Yeah.
everybody was so collaborative. So I walked into Godzilla going like, this is the same deal. Like this is a collaborative process. We're here to have like fun, and everybody, like everybody's here to make the thing better. And so
Yeah.
anything that I can do to make it better, I will. Um,
That's awesome.
and the only thing I wasn't prepared for was how many takes they shoot on these big budget things.
Oh yeah. How
Um,
many takes did they do for you?
oh, so I guess spoilers ahead for the next minute and a half. If you haven't seen Godzilla King of the
Yeah.
Monsters yet and you want to, I'm going to give away what happens to my character in 3, 2, 1. My character gets shot in the face 10 minutes into the
Ouch.
movie. Um, and he also gets exploded right before that. And so being a part of like a huge stunt, like literally like the day of the stunt, they were like, would you mind being in the stunt scene? Would you mind doing your own stunt?
Shit.
It's not a huge deal. It's just like a couple of propane poppers and a couple of air cannons. It's not a big deal at all. And I was like, would love to.
Wow.
Um, and then they blew up a whole ass room behind me. And I was like, wow, really
Whoa.
underplayed it. Really underplayed what was going to happen in that room. Because if you see the scene, like when like these terrorists like storm, I'm like a scientist working with Mothra,
Yeah.
um, and like Mothra is being born, and this like eco terrorist group like bursts in, but the way that they burst in is they like explode their way in, and so there's a huge explosion, lots of fire. If you see the scene in the movie with the explosion, it is real. It is not CGI.
Wow.
It is really, it's real fire. It was hot. I felt it. I saw it. It
Oh,
it filled the room. It engulfed the room in flames. Um,
did they give you any like warning, like, hey, it's gonna be loud, or hey, you
well,
might
yeah, I
feel
mean, like we
this,
went
or
through like it was like 2 hours of prep
well, that's
to
good.
get everything perfect. I just didn't know how much fire there was going to be. And I'm standing
You're
in front
just
of like a
like,
huge window
y'all,
that's like,
could you just turn the fire down just a little bit,
could you tweak it? Could you turn the fire down to 8?
like a one?
Um, so yeah, I'm standing in front of this huge glass window and like, had rehearsed like the stunt like numerous times. And so at this point, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we're ready to go. 3, 2, 1, go. So I start doing the stunt as, like and the stunt for me is just like I'm propelled forward by the concussive blast of the explosion, and I just sort of like fall on my face. Um, and so like as I'm going through the stunt, as I'm like sort of pushing myself forward,
Yeah.
and being like just like you know pretending to be like uh, blasted by the concussion of this bomb, I'm standing in front of this huge window. So like I see in the reflection of the window the entire room filled with flames. And I'm like
Oh
literally like
man.
watching the room fill with flames, and like just in my head as I'm going through the like fall, I'm just like, oh shit.
Well, you probably really don't have to like act. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, at
just
that point,
like
it's just like
it's happening.
uh, well, like I did have to act a little bit because like
Well,
all I
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
do was
yeah.
stop and go like,
But I mean,
"Whoa, dude,
it
that's a lot of fire."
it takes the
Um,
pressure off. Like, oh, I have to react to this crazy
yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, the fire's the big actor in this
Yeah,
scene. I don't really have to do a lot anyway.
yeah.
So luckily we only had to do that once, and I think it came back for like second unit stuff later, and like did another version of that explosion.
Wow.
Um, but the scene where so I survived the explosion, I stand up,
Yeah.
and then Tywin Lannister walks in and shoots me in the face as I'm like
Oh
begging for my
man.
life.
Ouch.
Um,
Ouch.
and the shooting in the face scene
Yeah.
we shot 52 times.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, it was like 2
Was that
days.
like a why? Why?
Just get it from like every angle, and
Oh
and then
God.
eventually, when I was doing ADR for the movie, which again more actor stuff, is just like going in and like re-recording dialogue or recording alternate lines of dialogue,
Yeah.
in like a recording booth that they sort of sync up to the scenes of the movie that are already shot. So as I'm
Wow.
going in for ADR, the director Michael Doherty is on the other end, and he's like, "Hey, Randy, just wanted to let you know we had to cut the actual shot of you getting shot in the face to avoid an R rating."
Right, right,
And
right.
I was like, "Well, you know, I actually slipped an extra $5 to the MPAA just in case you guys want to bring me back. You don't actually see me getting shot in the face." Um, so what they had to do was because what ends up happening is the take that they decided to use was like these other characters. So Millie Bobby Brown from TV Stranger Things, and Vera Farmiga are like on the other side of the glass and they see me get shot. And so what happens is they CGI'd the glass breaking.
Oh my
So you don't
gosh.
actually see me get shot. So you hear like the gunshot and then the glass breaks and then like my body falls. So I was so
Whoa.
good at dying that I was going
Wow.
to give that film an R rating.
Wow. That's a great story.
Just in case
So,
you want to kill me in a movie, just know
um,
that I'm really good at it. I'm really effing good at it.
that's awesome. So okay, what advice would you give actors that are just starting out? What advice would you what would Mr. Clarke and Randy say?
Mr. Clarke would say, just be curious.
Be curious. Nice.
Be curious about life, about your
Yeah.
career. I have similar advice. You have to be in love with what you do,
Yeah.
because the one thing that you cannot do as an actor is have an expectation for how things are going to be.
Right, 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 right.
Um, the one thing you can't do as an actor is go, I want to be on this show. And it's like, okay, are you going to like give up every other opportunity that you have? Like, are you going to like give up the opportunity to be on another show, to be on like a specific show?
Yeah.
Like, for all you know, the show that you want to be on, you're going to give up the opportunity to be on an even better show because you want this other show so badly. And that's just not the way that it works anyway. Like, you're like, well, I want to be on this
Sometimes
show.
because for Stranger Things, I was like, I want to be on that show, and somehow I got on that show. So
That, I mean, like that. Look, that is
it's
definitely
so
something
rare.
that like
It's
once you
like,
get an agent, you can say, "Hey, I want to be on
yeah,
this show."
yeah,
Uh, but obviously, you know, let's let's just tell it like it is.
yeah, yeah, for
You
sure.
put in a lot of work before you got to that point,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah, I didn't.
That wasn't your first day
Yeah,
at the rodeo. You didn't
no,
you know
no, I had
you
like a
didn't start
resume.
acting.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
resume and all that stuff. So yeah,
yeah, you didn't
that's
start
true.
acting and go like, I want to be on Stranger Things.
Yes,
You
no,
you
no, I had credits
had
before that. So
yeah, you'd worked on several other things. You had enough like confidence and enough
Right.
ability and skill and talent to be able to go
Yeah.
in and nail an audition and like nail the part, you know,
Yeah.
which I think is a really great part for you. Um, and like obviously you nailed it. It's just like
Oh, thanks, man.
an unforgettable role with the
Oh,
Cheeto
thank you.
fingers.
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
did you ever get that date with Nancy?
Uh, yeah. I guess I didn't, huh?
Director's cut,
Yeah.
deleted
Um,
scenes. Um, so yeah, I think you have to be in love with what you do because you can't like you're not gonna get anywhere by going um by like beating yourself up or by being depressed about not getting a part or you know whatever it is like you literally have to go like I love the process right
yeah.
you have to love the process of acting you have to learn to love auditioning you have to learn to love preparing because that is most of what you do as an actor. Most of what you do as an actor is preparing to audition and auditioning. That's 90% of it.
Yep.
10% of it is actually working.
Yep.
And like but you know, and auditioning and working are two totally different skill sets. Um, when you're working, you can actually like play off of other actors and
Yeah.
you know use the environment, use your costume, use like all these various things around you. Like you get to have like a character that's been like sort of created by a bunch of different people. So you've got costumes, you've got hair, you've got makeup. So like all these things work together to give you the flavor of this character. That's stuff that you don't have in an audition. All you have in an
Yeah.
audition is you. Um, and you have to do all the prep in an audition. And then when you're working, you actually get to have like all these other things working for you. You have
That's
to
great
love the
advice.
process because
Yeah.
everything is the process is everything. And if the only part about acting that you love is getting on camera and working on set, you're gonna have a bad time. And that's why a lot of people can't do it. Like a lot of people go like, I want to be an actor, and they start down that path, and then they go, it's too hard.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
rejection is too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly, you're not even being told no. You're basically being ghosted constantly.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like you audition for something and you just never hear back.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so if you're sitting around going like, why aren't they calling? Then you know you're just going to be sad all the time.
Yeah.
And so you have to sort of like move
You
past
have to make the
the
calls too,
expectation.
though. You have to make calls. Put yourself out there. Don't wait for people to call you. Call
Okay, wait
people.
a minute.
Make
I'm
your
gonna
own
write this down.
projects. um, that's awesome advice. Thank you, Randy. So what are you working on now, and where can people find you on the internet?
You can go to Matty's Instagram page.
Yeah,
His latest post is about me,
it is.
and it's got my Instagram handle in there. It's
Nice.
Mr. Randy Havens.
Nice.
That's Instagram. That's Twitter. That's all the stuff.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
uh, and then I've got a few things coming out in the summer. Most of them I cannot talk about. Uh,
Right. NDAs, they'll come after you.
they will. Their
Yeah.
snipers are right outside. Um, uh, but yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I can I think talk about because they're already like on the internet.
Nice.
Um,
Spill it.
Spill the tea.
Spill the D.
There's a really cool horror trilogy that I'm a part of coming out on Netflix
Nice.
in the summer called Fear Street. So
Oh,
I'll be
cool.
in Fear Street 1666.
Whoa.
which is like one part of the trilogy that takes place in the year 1666. So
Whoa.
I cannot give you any more information than that
All
because
right, cool.
that would be spoilers.
Yeah, look out
Um,
for it.
but gonna be really fun. Netflix is doing a whole Summer of Fear thing, and so every film in this trilogy is going to be coming out nearly simultaneously. I think they're going to do like a little bit of a gap in between each one. But yeah, and it's like this interconnected story that takes place during different time periods. It's going to be a
Oh,
lot
heck
of
yeah.
fun.
Cool.
Um, and then I'm also have a small role in a film called The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is about Jim and Tammy Baker,
Oh, cool.
and about like sort of their life together. They were an evangelist couple, a televangelist couple in the '80s that were pretty shady. But Tammy Faye is a good lady, and she ended up like having a good life. Jim Baker is a POS, but Tammy Faye was quite the thing. And Jessica Chastain plays Tammy Faye Baker, and it's going to be amazing.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great, man. Well, congrats. I'm a huge fan of you. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're the man. Uh, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. This has been fun.
You're welcome. Thanks so
You're the
much for having
best.
me.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I'm a huge fan of you as well. Yeah,
Thanks.
you do the
And
same, man. I always look forward to what you have coming up next, and it's always a delight when I see you in something because you always bring a special flavor. You've got like a
thanks, man.
this positive vibe, obviously, in your real life that is really cool, and it's the world really needs that right now.
They do. It's true. Thank you. Thanks so much, Randy. You're the best. You're a sweet man. Well, thanks for listening to Daydreaming. Like and subscribe on the YouTubes and check us out on Apple Podcasts and have a daydreaming type day. Have a good day. Thanks for listening. And Randy, thanks again, man. You're the best.
Thank you.
All right. Peace. Peace and love. Daydreaming.